This evening, Ministry of Education launches SPARK program, which aims to introduce students to AI technology. Multiple Ministry of Health workers detained amid missing inventory at a government bond. One of the detained employees offered millions for his freedom. Traffic congestion continues on the west bank of the Demerara. In the region, Colombia Guard held after drug lord flees through open doors. And internationally, UN, hunger crisis threatens half of Somalia's young children. Greetings and welcome to another edition of Channel 2 Headline News Updates. I am Baby Bacchus. Thank you for joining us. We begin tonight's newscast by informing you that several employees attached to the Ministry of Health Diamond Bond were arrested on Monday following a simple larceny report committed at the said bond. According to a police report, officers arrived at the scene around 1 p.m. and conducted investigations as well as interviewed many of the employees suspected of being involved in the alleged crime. Acting on information received, investigators proceeded to search a motor car owned by a 23-year-old male employee. A black duffel bag was recovered on the rear seat with a 9mm pistol and 2 matching rounds of ammunition, a .38 pistol with a magazine holding 7 rounds of ammunition and over $4.5 million in cash, and an additional 20 rounds of .38 ammunition. The vehicle owner was cautioned of the offense committed, to which he tried to bribe the officer. He was arrested along with several other employees of the state entity, who were taken to the Golden Grove Police Station, where they were placed into custody pending further investigations. At the Golden Grove Police Station CID office, while being questioned about the firearms and ammunition without a license, the motor car owner requested his bag, where he withdrew and offered the police investigator over $1.7 million cash to forego the said charges. He was then informed of a new offense he had committed, corrupt transaction with agent, for which he attempted to bribe the officer once more. The said money, firearms, and ammunition were lodged, and he remains in custody as further investigations are in progress. Drivers and passengers were held up in heavier than usual traffic on the Demerara's West Bank earlier this morning. Here is more. As more Guyanese realize their ambition of owning a vehicle, one of the drawbacks is traffic congestion. This is especially noticeable on the western bank of the Demerara River. Today, drivers and passengers were trapped in an extensive traffic pileup as early as 6 a.m., seemingly for hours. The cause for the traffic jam was blamed on a broken-down truck on the Demerara Bridge. The Demerara Harbour Bridge, a one-lane road bridge built in the 1970s, is the only way for motorists to cross the Demerara River, resulting in daily traffic backlog. A few daring commuters devised ingenious ways to avoid the traffic jam. Vehicles were observed driving on the shoulders of the road, trailing behind police escorts, and outright driving onto oncoming traffic, which resulted in traffic on both lanes screeching to a halt. Ranks of the Guyana Police Force intervened and rectified the matter, resulting in the detainment of multiple drivers. Headline News contacted the detained drivers, who declined to be interviewed on camera but maintained that they were merely following other drivers. They also stated that their detention was unjust because of the unusual traffic buildup, and other drivers were also breaching the traffic law by driving on the wrong lane of the road but were not stopped. Nevertheless, as more cars come onto the road, traffic jams may not only be a nuisance but a way of Guyanese life. If you notice anyone breaking the traffic laws of the road, you are encouraged to report it by calling 911. The mother of a man who was beaten to death says that her son did not deserve such a gruesome death. 38-year-old Kwame Bagwandin was allegedly beaten and left to die sometime between Friday, March 18th and Saturday, March 19th, after being accused of robbing a Kimbia Berbice residence. On Saturday, Bagwandin's lifeless body was handed over to the police, and he was later pronounced dead by a doctor. During an interview with Donna Ladle Bagwandin, the mother of the dead man, she said her son did not deserve such a gruesome death. Little said she was informed that her son was one of 4 individuals who was accused of robbing a home in Kimbia. She said she only found out when someone sent her a photo of her dead son. The woman also revealed that she did not know when her son left his home in New Amsterdam Berbice to go to Kimbia, but that he would frequently visit the Upper Berbice River to conduct a marijuana business. The grieving mother said the family that got robbed said they did not recognize or see the thieves' faces, but yet they beat him until he died, and she wants the police to look into this. The family is claiming that they did not beat him and kill him. She would like the police to investigate the matter and let her know who really is the killer. The woman believes that her son was bound and beaten to death by more than one person. Meanwhile, according to Rayon Gladstone, one of the robbery victims, on Friday night, two unmasked men who had handguns and a third who had a shotgun stormed into his home. He and his family were relieved of cash, jewelry, clothing, foodstuff, and household articles. After the robbery, the bandits tried to escape. However, villagers rushed out and began to chase after them. During a further search for the bandits, Bagwandin was spotted, apprehended, and beaten by an angry mob. He died and his body was handed over to the police in Region 6. Bagwandin was no stranger to the law. He was fingered in several robberies in the past. Stick around after the break. Ministry of Education launches Spark program, which aims to introduce students to AI technology. And a man was remanded for the murder of Chavez Mangal.
Maison Francois is the chocolate paradise of Guyana. From the moment you enter our store, you are welcomed by the sweet aroma of Belgian chocolate, pastries, and other artisanal treats handmade by our European-trained chef. Our convenient location at the City Mall is the perfect place to take that special someone or to take home a little sweetness. So treat yourself with a taste of Paris in the heart of Georgetown, only at Maison Francois.
Good girl forget things.
What's the problem, Granny?
I want money for borrow for those surgery. I was dancing and I fall and fracture my hip.
If you need some quick money, you should check Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop, Lot 238 South Road Border, Georgetown. Get jewelry made to order in just 72 hours. We also accept vehicles. Lender's, best rates, longest payback period.
Boys, I get through. Plus, I could dance again.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
In a world filled with copycats and ever-changing trends, make your property stand out with unique concrete moldings. Different, exquisite designs carefully handcrafted to suit your style, with various customizable and antique and modern designs made at our factory. Antique and Modern Molding Establishment. We make your property outstanding. We make and install all moldings anywhere in Guyana.
The best quality, affordable prices, on-the-spot quotes, and no hidden fees.
Call us or WhatsApp us at 684-5050 or email us at modernestab@gmail.com. Antique and Modern Molding Establishment, made to stand out.
Furnishing your home or office has never been easier. Here at Kissoon's, our inventory of locally made and imported furniture, offered at amazing prices, will leave you wanting more. From vinyl, floor rugs and carpets, bedroom, dining and living room sets, mattresses, pillows, office desk, chairs and filing cabinets, outdoor benches and tables. We have a piece of furniture for every room imaginable in your home or office. Check out our flagship store at Industrial Site Rijnveld or one of our branches in New Amsterdam, Port Morant, Riverton and Camp Street. Kissoon's Furniture, furnishing homes for over 50 years.
When you need money and you gotta get it fast, Creative Jewelry and Pawn Shop is the place for that confidential transaction in a quiet and secure location. You'll get the highest value per pennyweight for your gold and also enjoy the lowest interest rates and longest payback period too. Yes, for that instant transaction to solve a pressing financial problem. That Creative Jewelry and Pawn Shop, 4-6 Boyle Place, that's between the Ministry of Housing on Brickdam and White Castle Fish Shop, be your first and only choice. Creative Jewelry and Pawn Shop, safe and sound, solid and secure, always there for you. Telephone 231-7878 and 223-8955.
Sooner or later you will have another power failure. Are you prepared for the next blackout? Some essential equipment such as security cameras, lights, internet, gate motors, and water pumps may stop working. How can you prevent the next blackout? InverterTech has an affordable solution for you. A strong UPS system which uses the latest inverter and solar battery technology to prevent blackout. We smartly calculate your average power demand so you don't spend more than you need to. Call 223-2233 for more information.
Welcome back. Spark, the program which aims to introduce students to artificial intelligence technology, was launched on Monday at the National Center for Educational Research Development. The program is a product of the collaboration between the Ministry of Education and 3 private technological organizations. The program will run for 8 weeks and will teach students how to code and use the same instruments used by the biggest companies in the world to build AI products and services. The students will be required to build a real AI product and could be launched to the world. The students will be required to build a real AI product that could be launched to the world. During the launch, Minister of Education Priya Manichan stated that such programs ensure that school systems produce well-rounded individuals who could claim their positions in the world and be creative. A total of 136 students will be participating in the program. Students from secondary schools, the Government Technical Institute, and teachers trainees from the Sarah Potter College of Education will also be participating. Speaking on the sidelines of the launch, Minister Manichan stated that schools around the country will be fully reopened on April 25th. The Education Minister said all systems are being put in place to reopen schools to solve the 2 years of learning lost on the sidelines of the newly created Artificial Intelligence Leadership Program, SPARK. The government has implemented a staggered strategy to guarantee that teachers and students are prepared for the new term. Students will be revisiting the topics from their previous grades within a 20-week period before moving on to the next term's curriculum. In addition, the ministry is striving to guarantee that all schools are adequately supplied with the required tools and equipment before the new school year begins. The minister also announced a new national initiative to address the decline in literacy in the 4 basic courses. 28-year-old Nazim Prasad was remanded to prison when he appeared at the Vigilance Magistrates Court to answer to the charge of murder committed on Chavez Mangal on March 13, 2022. Prasad appeared before Magistrate Fabio Azor on Monday, March 21st, and was not required to plead to the charge. According to a police investigation, the deceased, Corporal Chavez Mangal of the Guyana Defense Force, was at his sister's wedding in Good Hope, East Coast Demerara, when he and Prasad got into a disagreement about the music. Mangal was allegedly attacked and stabbed by Prasad and 3 other friends armed with knives and cutlasses. The 4 males then armed themselves with glass bottles and began to throw the bottles at the building, after which they ran away. Mangal was picked up in an unconscious condition and rushed to the Balwant Singh Hospital, where he succumbed to his injuries while receiving treatment. The matter was adjourned to May 13, 2022 for statements. Don't go away after the break. US declares Myanmar army committed genocide against Rohingya and Ukraine. Actors, singers, and artists join the fight against Russian forces, but before that, here's the bridge retraction schedule.
Furnishing your home or office has never been easier. Here at Kissoon's, our inventory of locally made and imported furniture, offered at amazing prices, will leave you wanting more. From vinyl, floor rugs and carpets, bedroom, dining and living room sets, mattresses, pillows, office desk, chairs and filing cabinets, outdoor benches and tables. We have a piece of furniture for every room imaginable in your home or office. Check out our flagship store at Industrial Site Rijnveld or one of our branches in New Amsterdam, Port Morant, Riverton and Camp Street. Kissoon's Furniture, furnishing homes for over 50 years.
Good girl forget things.
What's the problem, Granny? I want money for borrow for those surgery. I was dancing and I fall and fracture my hip.
If you need some quick money, you should check Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop, Lot 238 South Road Border, Georgetown. Get jewelry made to order in just 72 hours. We also accept vehicles. Lenders, best rates, longest payback period.
Boys, I get through. Plus, I could dance again.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Maison Francois is the chocolate paradise of Guyana. From the moment you enter our store, you are welcomed by the sweet aroma of Belgian chocolate. pastries, and other artisanal treats handmade by our European trained chef. Our convenient location at the City Mall is the perfect place to take that special someone or to take home a little sweetness. So treat yourself with a taste of Paris in the heart of Georgetown, only at Maison Francois.
Sooner or later you will have another power failure. Are you prepared for the next blackout? Some essential equipment such as security cameras, lights, internet, gate motors, and water pumps may stop working. How can you prevent the next blackout? InverterTech has an affordable solution for you. A strong UPS system which uses the latest inverter and solar battery technology to prevent blackout. We smartly calculate your average power demand so you don't spend more than you need to. Call 223-2233 for more information.
In a world filled with copycats and ever-changing trends, make your property stand out with unique concrete moldings. Different, exquisite designs carefully handcrafted to suit your style, with various customizable and antique and modern designs made at our factory. Antique and Modern Molding Establishment. We make your property outstanding. We make and install all moldings anywhere in Guyana.
The best quality, affordable prices, on-the-spot quotes, and no hidden fees.
Call us or WhatsApp us at 684-5050 or email us at modernestab@gmail.com. Antique and Modern Molding Establishment, made to stand out.
When you need money and you gotta get it fast, Creative Jewelry and Pawn Shop is the place for that confidential transaction in a quiet and secure location. You'll get the highest value per pennyweight for your gold and also enjoy the lowest interest rates and longest payback period too. Yes, for that instant transaction to solve a pressing financial problem. That Creative Jewelry and Pawn Shop, 4-6 Boyle Place, that's between the Ministry of Housing on Brick Dam and White Castle Fish Shop. Be your first and only choice. Creative Jewelry and Pawn Shop, safe and sound, solid and secure, always there for you. Telephone 231-7878 and 223-8955.
Welcome back. Now we take a look at news in the region and around the world. A prison guard has been arrested in Colombia following the escape of gang leader Juan Castro from the maximum security La Picosta jail in Bogota. Castro, better known under his alias Matamba, escaped in the early hours of Friday and is still on the run. CCTV footage appears to show him leaving through an open cell door wearing a guard's uniform. President Ivan Duque said he was outraged at Matamba's escape and announced a reform of the jail system. The director of La Picosta has been suspended along with more than 50 prison guards who were on a ship at the time of Matamba's escape. Internationally, the United States has formally determined that violence committed against the Rohingya minority by Myanmar's military amounts to genocide and the crimes against humanity, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken has announced. Al Jazeera's Patty Kulhan reports.
The images were heartbreaking. 5 years ago, thousands killed, hundreds of thousands forced to flee to neighboring Bangladesh. The stories they told of indiscriminate killing, rape, and arson. Now the United States has given a name to what the world witnessed: genocide and crimes against humanity, promising $1 million to help investigators gather the evidence.
Efforts are moving forward not only at the International Court of Justice, but also through the International Criminal Court and through the domestic courts of Argentina in a case brought under universal jurisdiction. The day will come when those responsible for these appalling acts will have to answer for them.
And the U.S. Secretary of State seemed to link the attack against the Rohingyas to the coup and the violence the military continues to inflict on its citizens, which experts say could have an impact.
It means that there's going to be accountability for what they're doing now. Now, this may matter to some of the generals. It may not matter to Min Aung Hlaing, because I think his days are numbered. But it may matter to plenty of the others, and it may encourage more defections.
At the United Nations Monday, warnings that it is getting worse.
I regret to inform you that since my last report to this council, the human rights situation in Myanmar has not only failed to improve, it has deteriorated significantly. In fact, the Myanmar junta's war against the people of Myanmar has intensified. More than 1,600 civilians have now been killed by the junta. Nearly 10,000 arbitrarily detained. More than 500,000 have been displaced.
The U.S. designation is likely a signal that they will look to place more sanctions on the leaders of Myanmar in the coming months. It also sends the message to Western companies that they should rethink doing business in Myanmar. Just one step in what will likely be a long and uncertain path to justice. Patty Culhane, Al Jazeera, Washington.
Severe drought risk pushing nearly half of Somali children under 5 into acute malnutrition this year, with hundreds of thousands needing life-saving treatment, according to the United Nations, which calls for urgent action. The country is going through its worst drought in 40 years, Al Jazeera's Malcolm Webb reports.
This is what Somalia's drought has done to this 3-year-old boy. His father, Abdullahi Abdi Mohammed, was a farmer until all his crops died. Last month, they joined hundreds of thousands of people who were leaving their homes for makeshift camps. But there wasn't enough food or water in the camp either.
I left my wife in the camp. She was also sick. I have been here for 14 days with my son in the hospital, and he is slowly making recovery day after day.
The UN says more than 1 million children are malnourished, a third of them severely, after the last 3 rainy seasons failed. Crops and animals have been wiped out. Children are among the most vulnerable. The luckier ones get medical help. Across southern Somalia, therapeutic feeding centres are full, like this one in the town of Luke. Somalia's had famines before. Dr. Shukri Hussein Abdi says she's never seen anything like this. She works here for the Irish charity Trocare.
This drought is more serious than other droughts in Somalia, because when we see the admitted patients before other years, according to the registers and data, we saw this is more severe than the others.
Most people here herded animals and grew crops on the banks of the rivers until they dried up.
This goat was somebody's means to survival. The livestock can eat what little grows on the thorny bushes and turn it into milk, meat and income. Now carcasses are scattering this whole area. People say first the crops died. When the animals died too, they had no choice but to walk here to the edge of the town and set up a camp.
People use what they can to shelter from the dust and the sun. Conditions aren't good. Many children here need help, but humanitarian agencies say they have less than 3% of the money they need. Any help is too late for Hado Daro Isaac's daughter and her 4 grandchildren, who she says all died on the way here.
The children died while we were walking. We did not have any kind of transport. If only we had transport, they would have survived. We could not get food or water, so they could not walk. That's why they died.
Nobody's even counted how many malnourished children have already died. The next rains are due in April. Help is needed now. Malcolm Webb, Al Jazeera, Southern Somalia.
And finally, as Russian forces push on residential areas and suburbs, volunteers from all walks of life are meeting them with resistance, Al Jazeera's Zain Bashravi reports.
Mariupol is being bombed into the past. Ukrainians say economic infrastructure, factories, warehouses are non-military targets. Survivors now suffering war will inevitably suffer in the future, their livelihoods destroyed. On the ground, Russia's Chechen soldiers, hardened fighters, continue to push on residential areas and suburbs. Waiting to meet them may be Ukrainian volunteers like these men. Actors, singers, artists, all defending their home.
So far, all people are volunteers who basically never had a gun in their hands, never served in the army. They never thought that they would have a gun in their hands. But all of them are, with all of their intentions, determined to resist. And this desire just brought all of them here.
Fear is natural, he says. To control it, you must embrace it. A small unit with little training. days away from going into the fray to block Russia's advance on the capital. Mariupol, Kyiv, Chernihiv. Satellite pictures show the Russian army's use of artillery, where its ground forces have been stalled by lethal Ukrainian hit-and-run attacks.
In Kharkiv region, another enemy jet was shot down. Our forces have already shot down so many Russian jets and helicopters that we can only state, instead of containing brains, their pilots' heads are empty. I said as well, and this is not by accident, their hearts and souls are also empty.
Unharmed but not untouched by the fighting, performers in Drohobych have new roles. Cooking meals for soldiers on the front lines.
There's a saying that when the guns sound, muses are silent, but we are not silent. We are in the rear. We are engaged in volunteer work because Ukraine is in a difficult situation now.
Since the invasion began, they've sent thousands of meatballs and dumplings, as well as meat stew, soup, fish, and pancakes from here to Kyiv, as long as their people remain in harm's way. For this theater troupe, the show must go on. Zain Basravi, Al Jazeera, Lviv.
And that is it for today's regional and international news. Here now is your third weather forecast. And that is all for this edition of Channel 2 Headline News Updates. Tune in on Wednesday at 7 p.m. for another episode. Be sure to subscribe, like, and follow us on Facebook and YouTube. Until then, please take care of yourself and each other.